spent the night in Walla Walla, Washington. That's quite a mouthful. At an Elks Lodge, dry camping for free, so that was awesome. Pretty hot in Walla Walla. I mean, in the mid to upper 80s, so not super hot, but it gets hot inside the rig, you know. But look at this very golden, barren landscape. It's kind of otherworldly looking. Already on this trip, I'm just wowed by the variety of landscapes I've already encountered, because yesterday, driving from Wallowa Lake State Park to Walla Walla, I started out at a higher elevation, so it was very green and forested, and rivers, and just heavily, you know, heavily laden with trees everywhere. And then you come down to the flatlands, and then you've got this very flat landscape. So it's very interesting. I have about a 3-hour drive ahead of me today. I'm heading up to a Harvest Host up near Spokane, Washington. It was just on that road for 42 miles, and there are no gas stations. It was like all farmland. And so I finally get a turn off, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's an Army Corps of Engineers campground, which looks rather nice. And looks like there's a big body of water down here per usual. But I wanted to pull off to try to find a gas station, because I'm actually down to about a little under a half a tank, so I'm not too bad off. But there must be gas pretty soon. They wouldn't have a campground without some gas nearby. So looks like they allow boats on this lake. Very pretty. Okay, well, I'm going to turn around and go back, hopefully find a gas station soon. I've been sitting here on the road for a good 15 minutes waiting for the go-ahead here in Washington. And I was getting nervous because I'm getting low on gas, but I found out that there's a gas station 5 miles ahead, so I'm greatly relieved. It looks like we get to go pretty soon because I see the cars. Well, I am resting at a rest stop. I still think I have about 50 miles to go to get to Spokane, Washington, where my stay is tonight. I did manage to get some gas, but I have to say it was a nerve-wracking day today for me. First of all, I made a newbie mistake where when I left Walla Walla this morning, I should have filled up completely on my gas tank. I was at about 2/3 of a tank, I think, and I just didn't even occur to me that, you know, I wouldn't encounter a gas station for nearly 100 miles. So it was just really nerve-wracking for me to be out on this very remote road, going from Walla Walla to a little town called Washtukna. And it was all farmland, 2-lane, very narrow road, no shoulder whatsoever, and there was like kind of a steep drop-off on the side. So, you know, you just, if you broke down and ran out of gas or something, you'd have to sit in the middle of the road waiting for help, you know, which isn't a great feeling. So I was kind of nervous from that, you know. And then when I finally get, you know, after about an hour or hour and 15 minutes, I finally get to this little tiny, can't even call it a town really. It just, all it had was a couple of gas stations, and so I go to the first one and they were closed, you know, and I'm like, oh please God, don't let the second one be closed as well, because there was nobody around. It was like completely you know, vacant. I couldn't see anybody. So I was, and it just didn't look like the gas station was even open. And so I was really nervous because I knew I had another at least 30 miles to go before getting to a gas station. And I was getting closer, inching closer and closer to a quarter of a tank, you know. I'm just not used to it, you know, so I was just really nervous, you know, and my mind can, you know, because of my anxiety, it can go into catastrophizing mode, and it can imagine all these scenarios, and I get myself worked up into a frenzy about it, you know. So that's, you know, that's kind of one of the challenges for me of being on the road like this, is my anxiety, you know. It's just really hard to manage sometimes. Didn't used to have this anxiety when I was younger, but it's developed as I've gotten older. In any case, I go to the second gas station and I was just praying. I didn't see anybody around, and so I couldn't even tell if the pump was open, and it said go to the breezeway to run your credit card. The card's running, and it's, you know, it lit up and said processing. I'm like, hallelujah, oh my gosh, thank you. I was like so relieved. Oh man, I was like, wow, if that doesn't work, then I probably would make it, you know, 30 miles on a quarter of a tank. I'm pretty sure I would, but it still would have been nerve-wracking for me because of my anxiety, right? And my catastrophizing mind, you know. So I was so happy and relieved to get that gas. Man, oh man. Yeah, I actually did not realize that when I remember when I looked on the map to see the route, you know, it kind of looked remote, you know, on the route, but I didn't do satellite view or anything, and I didn't really investigate it further, but I could tell that it was kind of a back road, you know. And I remember yesterday looking at it thinking, oh, I'm a little worried about that, but then I forgot about it this morning. And so the thing with Google is it'll take you on the shortest, fastest route, not necessarily the most appropriate route. I mean, already it's tried to take me down a couple of very inappropriate primitive roads, you know. Today it happened again, you know, trying to take a shorter route, and it was going to take me down this really, thankfully there was a sign right there that said this is a primitive road and there's no warnings, you know, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound good. So I just kept going on the main road, and I'm so glad that I did. But I just didn't really investigate further about how, I just assumed I would be hitting some services, right? You know, but I can't assume that because you just never know. There's a lot of roads that, you know, there may not be services for miles and miles. Now I have I think it's a 55 gallon tank that I have. And supposedly I'm supposed to be able to get about 500 miles before I run out of gas. So that's good to know. But never again, I will not allow myself to forget to fill up before I get on the road. When I know I have a long drive ahead of me, just go ahead and fill up, you know, as a matter of course. And so I'm kind of learning from my mistakes, right? That's how it's going. And hopefully I won't make that mistake again. Because you just, obviously today I learned that you just never know how long it might be, you know, before you actually run into a gas station. And yeah, I was imagining this scenario, running out of gas and having to park my rig in the middle of the road waiting for help, and I wouldn't even want to be inside the rig while I was waiting, because what if a car didn't see me in time or something, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, you know, imagine all these scenarios and scaring myself. Anyways, got through it okay, but yeah, lesson learned. Oh, you know, just while I was having my lunch right now, I looked it up on the web to see what is the longest road without services. And apparently, according to Google AI, I-70 in Utah has the longest road between gas stations. I don't remember, it didn't say how long, but apparently it sounds like it's even worse than Highway 50 in Nevada, which I think is, but what do you call it, up in Alaska, there's a long portion there, I forget what, but it said something about 240 miles without any gas, between services. So yeah, it's important to check and make sure that you have enough gas before you take a lonely road like that where there was no shoulder. Oh my gosh. This is my snack that I'm having, or actually it's more like a dessert because I already had kind of my lunch, but I'm eating this Effie's, which I've fallen in love with this brand. Effie's homemade crisp and buttery, not too sweet biscuits, and I've got the almond flavor with a dash of cardamom. I love that spice. So I've got this, and then I put a little bit of this Bon Maman orange marmalade. Bon Maman, Bon Maman. Bon Maman. Trying to sound French. Orange marmalade on top. Let's see how it tastes. Oh yeah, that's really good. It's not too sweet. It's buttery. And the orange marmalade adds a nice sweet taste with that cardamom. Very good. Yummo. There it is. Bon maman. Bon maman. I think the other thing that I didn't mention that was nerve-wracking for me is that I had no cell service out there. And I always thought that with my Starlink, that I could make an internet call with my Starlink, but I had tested it out and I actually cannot. Make any internet calls with it. I guess because it's not a cell signal, but neither is your home internet, so I'm not quite sure why it doesn't allow you to do an internet call. So that was a little disheartening, and the only thing I could do is, of course, call 911. It would allow me to do emergency calls only. So it was nerve-wracking to be out there on that remote road and not have any cell service, and I couldn't even look up to see, when I tried to look up, where the next gas station was going to be, it couldn't find it because I had no cell service. So that was really making me nervous, that I couldn't find out, and so it just added to the suspense, for sure. But I made it safely. I never thought I'd be so glad to get back to civilization and services and people and stuff like that. It's kind of nerve-wracking to be out there alone by yourself on a lonely road. There were some cars coming through, but not very frequently. So, yeah, glad to be back amongst civilization, as noisy as they can be. I'm lying down on my bed looking at this view this morning. I'm at my Harvest Host, and it's a rural location and very pretty. I had a heck of a time leveling my rig, though, and I'm going to have to try again this morning because I still didn't quite get it level. It's low in the back and low on the driver's side, on the left side, so trying to figure out what's the best configuration. I'm pretty sure I need the most leveling blocks on the left rear tire and some on the right rear tire, but less than the left rear tire, and then maybe one or two on the left front tire. So I'm going to try that configuration. see if it works, because I definitely can feel my rig's not level, and it's bugging me because even doors don't shut right. I have a lot of back issues. I have a degenerative disc disease in my back and neck. You know, basically kind of arthritis going on, and the discs are thinning. So I either rub one or all of these on there, depending on severity of pain. This one when I'm in pain and I want the pain to go away immediately. And then the other ones are more preventative, or when I have a light amount of pain. This is called Topricin Pain Relief Cream. And I think that helps. I'm not really sure. The arnica, also, I take it internally, you know, via a homeopathy pellet. And that does seem to really help. The arnica really does seem to help a lot. I would, you know, recommend this product. So this is the gel, and you can use that in conjunction with the boron. I think it's boron that makes the arnica pellets. And then I also have this, I've had this for a while now, muscle and joint essential oil. That's probably got ingredients like, what is it they have in here? No, it's not saying, but, you know, eucalyptus and wintergreen or whatever, those kinds of things in there. And then, like I said, I mentioned in a previous video, the Voltaren cream is really helping a lot too. It's actually has, you know, like I think it's acetaminophen, I'm not sure, but some kind of a, you know, NSAID medication in there, so it really does help with my pain. So my back pain has been manageable. The other thing I got, but I'm not using it enough, is in case I keep forgetting, is, where is it? My portable batteries are living up here for now, because they were under my dining table, but I didn't like having to move them all the time when I wanted to sit at my dining table, so I tried them up here, and I was worried they were going to fall, but they don't look like they're moving. They stay really well up there on my, you know, loft area there. So yeah, I've got one of these back bracey thingies, and this one's pretty comfortable, this brand. I tried a few, and this was the one that I liked the best, the Fetal, also on Amazon. Breakfast this morning is plain yogurt with cut up fresh peach and a little drizzle of maple syrup. This is my harvest host. I think they said in their listing that they're on 5 acres of land, so it feels just like a campground on this side for sure. And then on this side is their house. And it's in a very kind of rural area. Houses are spread out wide apart. So that's nice. It rained this morning, started at about 5 a.m. and lasted till about 11. It's supposed to get up to the low 80s today. It's kind of, you know, a little bit humid. And I'm just gonna take a walk and see the neighborhood here before it gets warmer. It's around 70 right now, so perfect. But I came in from this direction. And then, yeah, I just had to back in. So just north of Spokane. On the way here, I passed a sign that said Farm Museum. And I thought, well, that might be something interesting to do because it's a weekend. I don't have to work. I don't have a whole lot to do. But after all that effort to level, I am not going to go anywhere. I'm staying put. But yeah, the farm museum sounded kind of interesting. I thought, well, I've never been to see a farm museum. That would be really something to see. I was watching a documentary recently about farms in America and how Monsanto and big farms and business are kind of wrecking the soil, you know, with all the chemicals and pesticides and everything. And now there's this new wave of farmers that are doing what's called regenerative farming. And they basically don't till the soil and mess with it too much. And they do grow cover crops, so it kind of acts like a barrier to pests and so forth, if I recall correctly. But it was very informative. Things I didn't know. I've seen that sign on some of the packaging of things I buy. Regenerative farming, and I didn't really know what it meant. And now I do. Wow, look at this. Look what we have here, donkeys. I wish I had some food. Oh, you guys are so cute. Oh my gosh, look at the markings on this little guy. Oh, so cute. Gonna come over and say hello? You gonna come over and say hello? Hi, pretty. Hi. Hi. I'm always a little afraid to pet. Should I dare? Do I dare? Do I dare? Do I dare? Hi, honey. Hi. Look at him. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna try. Where do you like to be pet? I don't know. Between the ears? Do you like to be pet between the ears? Hi, sweetie. Hi, I don't have any food. I'm sorry, I don't. I have no food. No mas, no food. I'm sorry. Oh God, they're so cute. I watched so many of those YouTube or Instagram videos of donkeys and how gentle and sweet and affectionate they are. There's that one guy who rocks them to sleep, little baby donkeys in his lap, and they're just curl up like a little baby. They're the most adorable things. Oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. Oh my goodness, you're so cute. Oh, you're so cute. Oh gosh, you're so cute. What is that? What is that? What is that? You like a scratch behind the ears? Scratch, you like a scratch? No, don't get my sweater. Oh my God, don't get my sweater. It's not food. It's not food. Munchy. Oh God, it's still filming. Can we hear your munchies? Can we hear your munchies? Oh, he's eating. I'll give you some love. Only because he's petting her, I'm kind of got the urge to pet her. Okay. Oh, her fur is so soft. Oh, you're a beauty. Yes, you are. You're a beauty. Yeah. What a beautiful coat color. Wow, it's like the auburn. Look at that. Wow, the muscles. Wow.
I know, so much power.
So much power. Oh, you're a beauty. Yes, you're just so pretty. Now my camera's not food. My camera's not food. Wow, that was a really cool experience to be able to pet that horse. She was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I'll come visit her. I'm out of breath. Come visit her again tomorrow. She was a sweet horse. Look at how beautiful, and the sky is just really gorgeous. This is kind of reminding me of Colorado. My sister lived in Colorado Springs, so I would go visit her there. So I kind of got to know Colorado, and at least that part of Colorado. And this was kind of reminding me of it. Those nice kids told me that I can take this trail, and it kind of goes in a big loop. So I'm gonna enjoy this beautiful walk. Look at all those windows they have in their house. Wonderful. This guy is mowing his lawn, so to speak. Now that is a big yard to mow. Look at this. He's got to do all of this. Oh my goodness. I'm sure that's going to take all day. What do people do with all this land that they own? I mean, it doesn't look like they're growing anything on it or don't have horses. Looks like that guy got it done yesterday. He mowed his lawn. It's all done now. Looks a lot better.
You're so pretty. Yes, you are. You're so pretty. Look at how those green eyes go with the green grass. Yeah, you're pretty. You belong to the harvest hosts, don't you?
So I'm in the cool little town of Wallace, Idaho. It's a historic town. Not sure exactly what the history is here. I know that this Pulaski, there's a trail here called Pulaski that he saved people, maybe the miners. I'm not sure. I got to read up on the story. So after I left Spokane this morning, I've been driving. I drove through Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and then along the Coeur d'Alene Lake, which was beautiful and huge. And it's been really pretty. I've never been this far into Idaho. I only had been to Coeur d'Alene many years ago, very briefly. So this is my first time to Idaho. And yeah, lots of mountains everywhere and the greenery and the trees. It's very pretty. And just, parked my rig here next to this cool building. But yeah, I just love this red brick. And look at that door. That is beautiful. I like this. It's funny, this sign, Stardust Motel, is kind of reminding me of, in Las Vegas they have a Stardust hotel. So that's kind of cute. Looks like they have some kind of a tour on that blue thing. There's people touring around. Oh my gosh, I love this building over here. That is gorgeous. Wow. We stopped at a restaurant for some dinner. So I just read up on the story about Pulaski, and I think he was called Ed Pulaski. He was a forest ranger back in 1910, and there was a huge fire called the Big Blow Up here in 1910, and he ushered, I think it was something like 45 men to an abandoned mine shaft called the Pulaski. Well, they called it the Pulaski Tunnel after his heroic deeds to save 45 men from the big fire. And he famously threatened to shoot anyone who tried to leave the abandoned mining shaft. But they all survived, and he was a hero, and they've now named the Pulaski Tunnel, and there's a trail honoring him as well. So that's the story here in Wallace, Idaho of Ed Pulaski. Driving around around the residential neighborhood a little bit before I leave Wallace. And of course, there's a lot of cute little Victorian houses. Beautiful trees here.